Where's my theme music, man? Hold on 1 second. 1 second. I hate that it makes me reset that every time. We gotta figure. Grand Rising, good people. Grand Rising, good people. Y'all know what it is. We back. We're back, feeling good. Back in that Miami weather, as you can see. Well, maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. Let me adjust this. Boom, boom, boom. Little thing. Bigger than the sun. As you join, please make sure that you like, and subscribe for the algorithm. Y'all know our goal is to have as many different perspectives in the room, engaging in some honest growth conversation as possible. How's everybody's week going? It's been a busy one for me. Whew. If you're down in the Florida area, winter is officially over. The humidity is here. But we deal with it. We got a packed show for y'all today. Let me turn this down a little bit. We got a packed show for y'all today. We got a little bit of everything. I don't know if y'all saw the thumbnail. That's gonna be one of them ones. The thumbnail with Eric Adams. Maybe I'll bring it up later on in the show when we start talking about him. But what do we have? We got a bunch of stuff on the schedule for today. We're gonna talk about a little bit of some updates on Byron Donalds responded to y'all girl Jasmine Crockett. Let's turn this off. We good with that. We're good, sir. We're good. But we got Jasmine Crockett responding. We got Dr. Umar. We got Byron Donalds responding to Jasmine Crockett. We got Dr. Umar giving out his Coon of the Year awards. The nerve of this game, man. Dr. Umar, you heard it right. I came across a post where he's giving out his Coon of the Year awards. We're going to take a look about that. What else we got on here? We got some information on Alzheimer's, a political show mostly, but we're going to keep it pretty casual. Free at last, Eric Adams. Free Mayor Adams. All right, Mayor Adams is free. We got a female fencer standing and taking a protest. We may get into Tom Sowell a little bit on the tariffs. And then we're going to finish off. We got a couple different things. We got a couple interesting videos to finish you off with, including we're going to do a meditation at the end of this thing. We're going to do a meditation. So let's get into it. I keep going in and out of focus. I don't know if y'all can tell. Hold on. Let me try to adjust that. See how it keeps going in and out of focus? Hold on. Oh, that looks good. That looks real good. All right, so then, yeah, we're good right there. So we'll start off, of course, with our icebreakers. You guys let me know in the chat where y'all are tapping in from. Let's take a look at this video. I saw this one, and today's going to be more of a rapid fire back and forth show. It just is what it is. Let me see if I can find this one clip that we'll start off with. I actually just saw it. Here we go. All right, so I don't know about a lot of y'all, but this is the boat that a lot of folk are in. And lately I've been seeing this as a trend more and more. We talked about it when it came to Jasmine Crockett and her pointing out Byron Donalds' wife being white, so therefore maybe that changes it makes it so we shouldn't trust him and his blackness. And what's so funny is, as we were talking about it, I think on Wednesday, I completely forgot that here Jasmine Crockett is telling us, or insinuating that we should question whether or not we can trust Byron Donalds' blackness. But then look at Kamala Harris. I completely forgot about that. Here we over here criticizing Byron Donalds. She's over here criticizing Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman, questioning whether or not that takes away his blackness. But think about the marketing campaign that they did when it came to Kamala and pushing her blackness, when she's, from the information that I've seen, it's quite questionable, her blackness. Doug Emhoff is not black, her husband. So it's just a lot of, this is just when you start getting into these identity politics, this is where you start to play yourself, because you start pushing one, criticizing somebody on the other end, and then praising somebody on your end when they agree with the things that you have to say. And this goes back to the Andrew Schultz video that we started off the last show with, talking about Candace Owens. We determine whether or not we're going to listen to somebody, whether or not we like somebody, which should, the like aspect should fall low on the totem pole, but we determine whether or not we legitimize somebody based on whether or not we agree with them. We want diversity, equity, and inclusion. And a whole lot of these black folk out here, the blackity blacks, they rooting for everything black until you're a Republican, until you have conservative views, until you don't agree with everything that the Democratic Party is pushing. And we're going to get into that conversation a little bit later when it comes to Mayor Eric Adams not getting the support of a guy like Al Sharpton. But I thought we were doing everything black. Oh, so we're pushing everything black until the Democratic Party, until somebody doesn't align with the Democratic Party and their leadership, who pays the Al Sharptons, who contributes to the Joy Reids. Okay, let's just get to the video. Let's just get to the video, and then maybe y'all will understand what I'm saying. Then maybe y'all will understand what I'm saying a little more clearly. All right.
My back on the black community. So I was just told that I've turned my back on
Shout out Big Bro Doug.
Because of a recent video I did about Jasmine Crockett. I've been waiting on this one. What this is called is selective morality. Let's ignore the fact that ain't no white robes running through our neighborhoods, just black folks terrorizing other black folks. Let's ignore the fact that ain't no white supremacists shooting up our blocks. It's us. Let's ignore the fact that we make music glorifying our own destruction and then cry when the streets match the lyrics. We love screaming black unity, but will rob, jump, scam, and kill our own people with no hesitation whatsoever. Preaching we gotta stick together, while setting up your own brothers and snaking your own sisters. Love blaming the society for why our neighborhoods look like war zones, while cheering for the very culture that keeps them that way. Talking about black pride while rapping about murdering each other, turning women into baby mamas, and making it seem like being broke, violent, and ignorant is a personality trait.
And I got to stop it here. This is why, and maybe the next video that we'll get into is Dr. Umar's giving out his Coon of the Year awards. This is why, in my opinion, I don't know about y'all, but Dr. Umar is losing a whole lot of credibility when it comes to me. He lost a whole lot of respect when I found out that here he is preaching all of this family stuff, pushing for the black community. This is what black people need, the answer to the black. For all those people that push that message, for all the people that push that message, it seems that the one factor that goes into determining the success of a family or not, of children growing up and getting the opportunity to compete in life, right? Of properly preparing our children, it comes down to one thing: having a father in the household. So see, we'll get the Dr. Umars out here to jump out here and appease and call black women queens and to sound real tough talking and really all that. Y'all know how Dr. Umar comes across. And I'm telling you, as somebody who Dr. Umar helped gain some consciousness early in my journey, I would say. But then you have the people that actually live it, right? It's the people that talk and then the people that live it. When I found out that Dr. Umar wasn't taking care of his own kids, it's like, damn, it's always the people that they put in front of us or that are presented to us that we see in a particular light, and we excuse actually how they're living their actual lives. We get bamboozled with all the, I mean, whether you want to call it propaganda, whether you want to call it, I don't even know what you would call it. But we get very confused rather than just focusing on the actions of people and how they're actually living. And I'm just telling you, as somebody that gets caught up. So when he mentions this, I think I probably shouldn't have interrupted him. My apologies. But I just wanted to highlight that. It's always, oh, yeah, we rocking with you until you have a way of looking at life, a way of looking at things in a more conservative light. Now we're not rocking with you anymore.
Everybody want to scream support black businesses, but will run to Gucci before you ever spend $1 with your own people while looking for a hookup at the same time. We want to whine about gentrification, but won't invest in your own damn community. Instead, trash it, and then cries when somebody else moves in and builds it the fuck up.
Oh. All right, I'm getting ready to make a connection that I don't know is there yet. We want to whine about gentrification. I want to hear that part again. Hold on.
But will run to Gucci before you ever spend $1 with your own people while looking for a hookup at the same time. We want to whine about gentrification, but won't invest in your own damn community.
We want to whine about gentrification, but won't invest in your own community. I'm getting ready to connect some dots that y'all will tell me if they're there. Isn't this the same thing with the tariffs? Isn't this the same thing that has happened with the American economy? Think about what he just said. He's talking specifically about the black community, how we want to whine, right? But not support certain businesses, not invest in certain businesses in the own community, not build your own businesses. That's what he's talking about. If you don't build businesses in your neighborhood, then somebody else is going to build businesses in your neighborhood. And this is exactly what has happened when it comes to the American economy. We buy all of our products from other countries. We rely on other countries for things that we should be relying on ourselves for if we want to build up our community, right? That's why Hyundai, when they said that Hyundai was moving their factories to America, how did they present it? They said Hyundai is making like a $21 billion investment into America. It's an investment into America. So this is no different than the tariff talk. But when it comes to America gentrification, it's seen, and I don't even know if you would call it gentrification, but it's just seen in a different light, but it's the same thing. If you do not build and support and invest in companies in your community or in your country, then somebody else is going to sell you products, and that's going to stimulate their economy rather than yours. That means that your dollar, instead of getting recirculated into your own community or country, is being sent out to another country. So not only are you spending the money on another country or a company from another country, a business from another country, or a business from a different community, there's also taking the jobs out of those communities. So this is what do y'all see the connection? It's one of those things where if you want to see it, you'll see it. If not, you probably won't. Well, let's keep going.
Instead, trash it, and then cries when somebody else moves in and builds it the fuck up. And then the worst part, y'all expect every black person to fall in line with this bullshit ideology. Because how dare a black person think for themselves, right? How dare someone not subscribe to this self-inflicted victimhood bullshit?
Nerve of this Negro.
Y'all want unity? Start by looking in the fucking mirror. The truth is, black folks ain't even for black folks. The biggest threat to black people ain't Trump. It ain't the police. It ain't white people. It's us. It's our own self-hatred, our own refusal to hold each other accountable, and our own addiction to playing the goddamn victim while glorifying the very shit that holds us back. Who's out here shooting up black neighborhoods? Not Trump. Who's rapping about killing each other, robbing each other, and treating our women like trash? Not Trump. Who's making our own communities unlivable, unsafe, and uninvestable, then crying about it and wondering why they won't build up our neighborhoods? Not Trump. Who raised us to fear and hate each other more than any racist system ever could? We did that to ourselves. But nah, let's keep blaming everything on racism, while we kill, rob, and destroy our own at a rate the Klan could only dream of. Let's keep pretending every black person is on the same team when half of y'all wouldn't even piss on another black person if they were on fire. Y'all would film it and yell World Star. Let's keep screaming about oppression while cheering on the destruction of our own communities. Y'all don't want justice. Y'all don't want unity. Y'all don't want progress. You just want an excuse to stay in the same damn cycle while blaming everyone else but yourselves. So nah, I'm not turning my back on black folks.
Cats ain't really trying to win out here. There was that video that we posted maybe a week or two ago. I think it was 2 videos where they were talking about like, 80% of people just not even trying. The majority of people are not trying to win out here. The majority of people are doing what it takes just to get by. There's a reason why most people are living check to check. You could blame the economy, you could blame whatever it is that you want, but the majority of people always, whether it's in school, whether it's in life, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in anything else, people just do what it takes to get by. That's it, bare minimum. Nobody's putting it. Let's keep going.
I'm turning my back on the bullshit. And if that offends you, good. Maybe it's time y'all got uncomfortable. Maybe then we can actually fix the problem.
All right, so we're going to move right into the conversation with Dr. Umar that I was referring to. We'll move right into that conversation. Get y'all thoughts on that. Wild. I don't know when this video dropped. Let me actually see when this video dropped. He put this up 21 hours ago. So this is Dr. Umar's page. So
woo! Top 5 of the 21st century in no order, because they all equally guilty. Charles Barkley.
A lot of people in that environment were mad at me because I support the cops, which I do. But that doesn't mean they don't do things wrong.
You said you rode with the police and you had a conversation with them, and it takes them only a split second to make a decision. Tell me why it took 15 to 20 minutes to beat my son to death.
We're going to go through the list. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that video, but that's a while ago. Charles Barkley, he went on some tour to talk to communities because Charles Barkley was seen as a coon in a lot of ways. So he went to a lot of these black communities. I don't want to watch the whole video, but I just wanted to get the whole.
Mike check. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, Jesse Lee Peterson.
Racism is not an individual personality fault.
It doesn't exist, man.
You do
That's
not
dumb.
opt out of you do not opt out of
That is
racism.
dumb.
All white people benefit from and participate in racism. So I want to make sure we are clear.
What you're saying
Racism is not about individual white people
But what
choosing
you're
to
saying
hate
is a
blacks.
lie.
Racism.
The race baiting, bro. The race baiting. This is and the reason why I'm showing this is because it's so easy to jump on camera and convince people who have already embraced victimhood that the Democrats have pushed, that a lot of other groups have pushed as well. It's so easy to throw that word racism out there and get people's attention and give people an excuse or reason, just like the gentleman in the previous video was talking about, as to why you are not in the place where you believe that you should be, could be, would be, whatever. It's very easy to appeal to a group of people like that because that is what comforts people. That's the soft pillow that you'll allow people to lay their head on to rest comfortably, knowing that, well, convincing themselves that the reason why they're not ahead in life is because of outside factors that are out of their control. Meanwhile, the number one difference is having a father in the household. Simple, having a family structure, 2-parent household. That's what the statistics show. So instead, we'll get a Dr. Umar, and the reason why I'm on Dr. Umar so much is because I got caught up in this as well. He's a very engaging, dynamic speaker, engaging personality to where you can get caught up in a lot of his message. But the problem is now that his actions have been exposed and him actually not living by the same things he preaches when he calls out black men and saying we're not there for the black woman and we're not raising our kids, and you're doing the exact same thing, but yet you jump on camera and the first thing that you talk about, or the main thing that you're talking about, is racism. Okay, there's racism. Okay. So we've established that the number one factor in a child, giving the child the best chance to be successful, a boy or a girl, is having a 2-parent household and a father in the household. And to be totally honest, the numbers, based on some of the numbers that I've seen, it's really the father in the household. I'm just by the numbers in certain ways, but I stand on two-parent household. That's what I'm going to say for now. The two-parent household. With that being said, if that's the number one factor in giving a kid the opportunity to be successful in life, how can you jump on and talk about racism? What part of racism is preventing Dr. Umar from being in his daughter's life? Now, we can sit here and say, and I'll be the first one to acknowledge that, you know, Lyndon B. Johnson established these social programs and they incentivized it for that to be for Black women. So therefore they won't need a man. They were incentivized to not have a man in the household because now they got these programs providing the same thing that a man would, all these different things, right? But Dr. Umar, you a conscious brother. How can you jump on stage and scream for everybody else to do the things that you're not doing? This is one of those things where we got to be careful of who we put on a pedestal, the people that we worship. We got to be very careful with this, very careful with it.
Racism is about the system of racism
That's
that
a
controls opportunities and resources, Sister Tammy. Racism is not about the attitudes.
Tammy, that is not true. This is why we have to we must get to know ourselves so that we can overcome that fallen state. Dr. Umar is evil for putting out a lie like that or lies like that because people are going to believe in
let's
it.
refrain from calling people names.
Okay,
Reverend
but
Jesse.
he's not telling the truth.
We have to refrain, Sister Tammy, but at the same time,
He is
I
evil.
think it's important that we understand the difference between the Negro and the coon. Sister Tammy, this is a very important distinction that has to be made. The Negro is innocent in his ignorance, Sister Tammy. As Brother Michael said earlier, some people make mistakes against the race unknowingly.
You're right. So Umar, you know how important a father is in the household. You know how important a two-parent household is. Why your daughter get on camera talking about you never gone to a birthday party? And then you respond on camera like you're arguing with a random influencer and you're having a public spat with your daughter on Instagram or on social media, YouTube, whatever you put the video out on. So if you know better and you haven't chose to do better and you said that that's the definition of a coon, then what does that make Umar? What does that make you, Umar? Everybody is out here talking, and this is why it always goes back to what Quee says, be the change. This is why I always have to remind myself, and life sometimes does it, even if I'm not inviting it in. This is why I get humbled in a lot of ways. I'm being totally honest with y'all. This is why I get humbled, and this is why it's good to get humbled and allow yourself to be humbled. I don't like the definition of humbled. I kind of told y'all that before, but in a lot of ways, it's like you could jump on here, you can give all the advice, but the humility of being able to call yourself out on not behaving and living a certain way of life to the fullest that you're preaching to everybody else to live, that's a problem. That's a problem. I was just having a convo, and maybe y'all can relate to this as well, where I was talking to my bro Pete, and we were talking about his medical practice, and we were just talking about different sports, different teams. If the leader doesn't have to be the best player on the team, in my opinion. The leader does not have to be the best player on the team. The CEO does not have to be the best at marketing, and finance, and whatever else, in operations. They don't have to be the best at all those things. They have to manage all those people. But in my opinion, what they do have to be the best at is embracing the overall culture that they are pushing to their community. Embracing the overall culture that you're pushing to your community. So is Umar doing that? I don't know.
You make a mistake against the race unknowingly. That was a Negro. Negroes are innocent.
I'm not gonna watch this.
They think.
Hold on.
Put Shaq up on there, but not
Pass
pass a law. There's somebody I'm missing.
Michael, it's time to stop asking for freebies.
There's somebody I'm missing really bad, and I can't think of him. Shaq. I could put Shaq up on there, but not quite. I think somebody earns it more than Shaq. And I could put Candace Owens up there, but I even think somebody owns it more than Candace. I think Candace.
Yo. One thing you can't say is he is not a character, bro. He is entertaining. He's entertaining. He's entertaining. You know what? You know what I just realized? And I may regret saying this. What Gavin Newsom is to the Democratic Party, Dr. Umar maybe to the black community, bro. What Gavin Newsom is to the Democratic Party has no problem. Like, Gavin Newsom jumped on TV talking about the Democrats. They have a toxic brand right now. Talking about they. I don't even know if he really said they. I think he said they. But making it seem as if he's not the main one pushing it. Like, he's not the number one woke ideology, like LGBT, all of it across the board to the extreme and most radical ways. That's Gavin Newsom. You think about California when you think about these things. I know we make fun of Tim Walz in Minnesota, and putting tampons in boys' bathrooms, but over the last 5-6 years, like, it's been Gavin Newsom. But Gavin Newsom will jump on and act as if he has absolutely nothing to do with it. This is what Dr. Umar is when it comes to the black.
I could put Candace Owens up there, but I even think somebody owns it more than Candace. I think Candace go up there, though, because Candace been cooning.
Thoughts on the Confederate flag? I do not see a problem with people whose family members died fighting for that flag to be able to wave it high. It is historical. And the idea that your son or daughter went and marched in a war, people are just so stupid. They think they were fighting for slavery. Those people who fought were piss poor. They never had a slave a single day in their life. They fought for the South, and their sons signed up, went to war, and now they're told that even having the flag or having any pride for their dead relatives is something that is wrong.
The Confederate one is tough, bro. Didn't we just talk about this? We just talked about that Confederate flag, man. You know what? Maybe there just needs to have a conversation. There just needs to be a conversation. Perhaps we just need to have a conversation and have people that wave that Confederate flag sit down with people that it may be offensive to. Like, I would love to sit down. What I love to, I feel like I've had conversations with people in the past. This is when I was on my Dr. Umar heavy, right? This is probably about 2013, 14, 15. Perhaps there just needs to be a conversation. Hey, this is how this makes me feel because of these things. Well, this is why I stand on it, because my grandfather, my great-great-great-grandfather, whatever it is, died in the, you get what I'm saying? Maybe there just needs to be a conversation. The Confederate one is tough. I don't know. What about y'all? And this is to the point that when we were talking about America, whether or not America's great, or if America has ever been great, and how it's so easy for people like Dr. Umar. Let's be real. This wasn't the conversation that we were having a couple weeks ago, but we brought it, we talked about it, and I'm going to remind y'all. It was thinking about how, as racist as we will believe that America is, we pick and choose the causes of the Civil War based on whatever fits our particular narrative or argument at the time. And what do I mean by we pick and choose what was the cause of the Civil War? Sometimes we'll sit here and say, well, Abraham Lincoln freed the slave. Well, then we have to go and look at, well, Abraham Lincoln, I believe, allegedly also said that he would keep slavery if he was able to preserve the Union and do the same thing. If he was able to preserve the Union while keeping slavery, he said he would, allegedly. So a lot of people will discredit the fact that it was over slavery. But then when it comes to the Confederate flag and people rocking that, we'll say, nah, you're rocking that because y'all fought for slavery. So I know two things can be true at the same time, but in my opinion, if it was over slavery, then a good reminder for us all, maybe, especially when we have the Dr. Umars, which are going to be pushing more of the victimhood and more of the racism and all this other stuff. Maybe a good reminder is that, or maybe what we should all do is look up how many people actually died fighting against it and remind ourselves that people decided to risk their lives to fight for something. And I guess a lot of people would say that it was over slavery. So that's a good thing. Maybe that's something good that we should celebrate more. Maybe we should celebrate it during Black History Month. All the white people that died for us in the Civil War. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Dr. Umar gonna give me an award. I'm just trying to win my award. That's
and dirty and backwards and racist and associated with slavery. People are so ignorant about slavery and the numbers on slavery. I mean, the idea that everyone had slaves in the South is so stupid. It was the incredibly uber wealthy. People believing that everyone today had a yacht. I mean, it's just so, I'm just gonna stop ranting about it. The answer is people should be allowed to keep their Confederate flags and wave them because it represents an element of history.
Barkley, Jesse Lee Peterson, Supreme Court Justice Thomas, Candace Owens, and my fifth one, I know it's somebody I'm leaving out. Damn. I can't think of that fifth one. Or it's somebody big now on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. We got a big coon out there. It's a real big influential coon out there, colorblind. Who is it?
I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna have to meditate on that one.
And it went right into my girl. All right, so let's switch it up. We're gonna switch it up. Let me hide that on the screen. All right, we're gonna move into this video that I saw about this fencer taking a stand, and then we'll get into. Matter of fact, we're gonna get into the Byron Donalds response. So we talked about on the last show that Jasmine Crockett, she called out Byron Donalds, and maybe I should show that video again. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that video up again just to show y'all what was said. Jasmine Crockett, Byron Donalds. Y'all should have already have seen it, but we'll play it again one more time. Hold on. We'll play it again. Jasmine Crockett, Byron Donalds. Will we? All right, we'll play it real quick. Just so then we can just so y'all have the entire context. That's all.
He's like, yes, massa, I got it. Not really sure like what it is,
well,
but
you
I need
even be married to a white woman under Jim
correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bruh, like
hold on. Let's go to the beginning. Let's hear the whole thing, because we didn't watch the whole video on the last.
Put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, like, I mean, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, like, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally, it's because you married a white woman, and so you think that whitewashed you. I'm not really sure, like, what it is.
Well,
but
you couldn't even be married to a white woman under Jim Crow.
Correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bruh, like, what are you talking about?
Yo, the way they just conflated a conversation, the whole thing, and you know what? I gotta go a step back, and let me. This is what we're gonna do. Let me address these comments. We're not in a rush. Hold on. I didn't see these comments when y'all were commenting. So Maya wrote, "Imagine people walking around Germany with Nazi flags." Imagine them. So I'm assuming, Maya, you're saying. And you could yell through I'm assuming that you're saying that you don't think that people should be able to wear Confederate flags. You don't believe that people should be able to wear Confederate flags. Okay. Is that, I just want to be clear before I go forward. They lost. You don't think people should be able to wear?
Individuals can do whatever they want here, there, anywhere, but official like state buildings or schools.
Oh, you're saying like official state buildings and schools? Yeah, that's different. I don't think they're putting Confederate flags on official state buildings.
In the South, they're gonna have highways named after Confederate.
Maybe. Apparently, they're pushing Confederacy. That's why I told. They played the one video with Candace Owens. That's why I told you that's a tough one for me. That's a tough one for me. The Confederate stuff. The Confederate one, that's a tough one for me. I'm gonna be honest. And committed treason by waging war. All right. The Nazi flag comparison is a good one. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think. I guess it's similar. I guess it's similar to what some of us feel when we see that Confederate flag. That's the Confederate flag. That's a tough one for me. That's a tough one. So yeah, they got Candace Owens with a good video, I'll be honest. Even if we remove the reason for war, you wouldn't see flags of the side who lost waving high or names of generals on the losing side having schools or highways named after them. That's a good question. That's a good question. And the reason why I'm hesitant is because, well, do we consider World War II a civil war? I don't. Yeah, I'm with y'all. I'm just trying to process it as I go through it in my head. I'm just trying to process it. The 69 Project is a good read. What's up, Dak? Hope you're amazing today. What's up, G? How's everything? Big bro Trey in the building. Good morning, big bro. Back to reality. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Mama Lay. Byron is on track to be one of our future presidents, much to Jasmine's dismay. I agree. So let's get back to this. I'm gonna ponder on the Confederate one. I'm gonna continue to ponder on that one. I'm telling you, that's a tough one. When you're driving through the South and you see that flag, that's definitely a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going with this one.
Like, what are you saying? Like, he just out here, I feel like they understand history, or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you. I'm not really sure like what it is,
well,
but
I couldn't even be married to a white woman under Jim
correct.
Crow.
Yo, Charlemagne chooses to act silly sometimes. He chooses to act silly sometimes, and a lot of y'all may be wondering why I'm saying that. Byron Donalds was never talking about more black people were married to white people when during Jim Crow. He wasn't saying. Matter of fact, hold on. We're gonna look up Byron Donalds' Jim Crow comments. I want y'all to see exactly what he said. So therefore, there's no confusion around it. I want y'all to see exactly what he said. Y'all tell me if you think that maybe I'm off. I'm being totally honest. Maybe I'm off. I got to acknowledge that. Y'all look at this and y'all tell me if you think that Byron Donalds is trying to celebrate Jim Crow when he's making these comments.
The black family was during Jim Crow. The black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are.
He said the black family was together. He said the black family was together and we were more conservative minded. Is that really hard to believe? Think about our mindsets now compared to our grandfathers, our grandmothers. They were far more conservative than us. We just saw Felicia Rashad jump on this show. We just covered Felicia Rashad on the last show, calling out women these days and the lack of clothing that they wear. They were more conservative. Our moms were more conservative. Our dads were more, well, now it's getting to the point where a lot of kids growing up with more liberal parents and the kids are now pushing back and being more conservative. That's a little bit different. That's younger. But overall, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents were far more conservative. So the only two things that he said is that when you look back at during the Jim Crow, the black family was together. And that we were more conservative minded until the social programs of Lyndon B. Johnson and some other things that he mentioned. So that then leads to Charlemagne, who he's too smart to be having these to have these silly remarks and to be trying to mislead people. And he knows he has a big voice. So then they go on here and let's play again what she says.
Talking about life was better. And if we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, like, I mean, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow.
Did Byron Donalds ever say life was better under Jim Crow? Did Byron Donalds once ever say...
Like, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you? I'm not really sure. Like, what?
You think because you married a white woman that whitewashed you? Yeah. It's dangerous times out here. I'm gonna be totally honest. The reason why I say it's dangerous times is because this lady that we're seeing on the screen is one of the most influential, I'm going to say, black women in the Democratic Party. And I was going to say, maybe does that make you one of the most influential black women in America? And selfishly, I say black women because selfishly, I think that this is going to have a huge negative impact on a lot of young black women and older black women who are caught up in this mindset that they've been caught up in to continue to get misled. But with a lot of other young black women, I think it's dangerous following somebody like her. I think it's very dangerous following somebody like her. She's over here critiquing this black man. And let's just be honest, what you're really mad about. You're mad because you're not married. And he's married, talking about family, something that you're trying to discredit him to be able to have a conversation about because he's married to a white woman, but you're not married or engaged, never been engaged. Matter of fact, you jumped on TV maybe 2 weeks ago bragging about it. Like, I've never been engaged, not married, to hide the insecurity that we know that really feels. But to be bragging, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
What it is,
well,
but
you
I
couldn't
need
even be married to a white woman under Jim
correct.
Crow.
Charlemagne responds and says you couldn't even be married to a white woman under Jim Crow. What does that have to do with any part of the conversation? Do y'all see how people racialize everything and try to just manipulate and move the conversation one way or another? What does that have to do with what he's talking about? These people are too smart to make these silly mistakes.
Correct. And it took Joy to call him out.
Correct,
so
correct.
Like, bro,
like she's a booger, bro. Like, this is who our young kids, this is who our women overall. I can't even say young women. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of women in my mom's generation that are looking at Jasmine Crockett and proud of somebody like her. And I'm not saying my mom is. I guarantee you there's a lot of women in my mom's generation that are looking at it because they just hate Donald Trump so much. So therefore they like a Jasmine Crockett. This is the reason why, like, this is why they lost. And they continue to just lean into it. No, nobody takes you seriously. Or maybe people do. I don't know.
What are you talking about? Like, what are you saying? Like, he just out here, you know, I feel like they give him his talking points and he's like, yes, massa, I got it.
I feel like they give him his talking points and he's like, yes, massa, I got it. The nerve of anybody representing the Democratic Party to be talking about calling somebody else out about getting talking points and him saying, yes, massa. Do y'all see how they try to do this? If you are black and you are conservative and you vote Republican, they try to make you out. They paint you out just the same way Dr. Umar tried to paint you out, to be a coon. They make you out to be a coon. They don't highlight the fact that he's a family man. that he's married, that he's successful. They don't highlight those things because then they would have to point the finger at themselves, and she would have to say, well, I'm not a mother, or I don't know if she's a mother. I'm not a wife. I don't have a family. The only thing that they can come at him about is, oh, well, yeah, he's married to a white woman. So if Byron Donalds had a black woman, let's just keep going. Let's just move on. Let's actually hear Byron Donalds' response. So let's hear Byron Donalds' response. That's what we started off with. So let's hear that out.
It's a clapback you've got to see. You probably heard what Jasmine Crockett said about Byron Donalds on that guy Lenny's radio show. She sat there and called out his wife because of her race.
Oh, that guy
and then
Lenny.
went on this rant. Now, I interviewed Byron Donalds a little while ago. You've got to see his reaction. Do not stop watching this. It's going to blow your mind.
And if we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, like, I mean, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, like, is this because you don't understand history, or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you?
You married a white woman, so you think that whitewashes you. Well, I had Byron Donalds on. He's running for governor of the great state of Florida, and it was just a great conversation. But he went there. You got to see this.
First and foremost, don't talk about my wife. Keep my wife out of this. Ain't got nothing to do with her. You could talk to me about policy anytime you want to. Secondarily, there was a couple of times on the campaign trail last year where I know I was booked to be on stage or to be in debate with Jasmine, and all of a sudden her schedule changed. She had a conflict, whatever the case might be. So if she wants to do this, if she wants to have that debate, I'm easy to find. You know, you ain't got to look hard for me. You know, I'm 6'2". You can find me. It's pretty easy. Number three, and most importantly, this demonstrates, frankly, the racism in the Democrat Party, because they don't have a problem when Kamala Harris is married to a white man or when Ketanji Brown Jackson's married to a white man, as long as they subscribe.
Let me actually say this. When he says they don't have a problem, let's just be real. Can we just be direct? This has nothing to do with black men. This is black women. This is a black woman problem thing. I don't think black men are out here running around as much, or if they are, I don't know. Somebody give me some pushback. Talking about Byron Donalds is married to a white woman. I got a problem with that. I don't know many black women. Many black men caring about that. I was getting ready to make an Andrew Schultz type of joke, but let me refrain. Maybe black men just understand that it's The point is, I see more black women being upset about this. But then those same black women that will get upset with a Byron Donalds marrying a white woman will celebrate Kamala Harris going out there and finding a white man that's going to treat her great. I've had these conversations in person with people. So here, when it comes to that black man being happy, living his best life with his white woman, enjoying life. Oh, low blood pressure. Stop. All right, all joking aside, we look at that in one way, totally different than when we look at a Kamala and a Doug Emhoff. So I'm just asking, keep the energy consistent. All we were pushing with the Divine Nine and the sorors and all that other stuff was trying to make Kamala Harris seem as black as possible. That's all they were trying to do. But did she turn her back on the people because she decided to marry Doug Emhoff? Even though that what's the guy, the mayor of San Francisco, the one that Kamala Harris was rumored to be having the affair with, even though he was, let's keep going.
to the politics of the Democratic left. As long as you do that, everything is fine. But if you're a conservative, but your spouse happens to be white or of another race, then all of a sudden it's a problem. This is the racism that occurs in the Democrat Party. I'm sick of it, tired of the BS. I tell any one of them who have a concern about me and what they think my views are, debate me. And if you don't want to debate me, Google me. There's plenty of information out there because I know that I have the facts. I have the information. I can back my stuff up. All they can do is throw out innuendos, throw out talking points. And the last thing I'll say about Ms. Crockett, and I'm going to leave it alone. Jasmine, I don't use talking points. Nobody tells me what to say. And so I know how to deliver a message because I have facts, I have logic, I use economics, I don't get into hyperbole. So if you are concerned about some of the things that I say find a show. It could be whatever show you want to. We'll sit there and do it. We'll have a good time along the way, and you'll go ahead and be defeated very quickly.
Make sure you're following this.
Ended a little weak, but it was still strong. It was still strong. It seemed like he had his punchline at the end and he was trying to get it. Whatever. Byron always up for a debate. Byron's always up for a debate, but it would never happen. It wouldn't be on substance. It would be literally name calling and goofiness coming from that side. Because what are you going to say to him? What are you going to say to him? You're going to debate on policies. You're going to debate on this. The country is already leaning in favor of conservative policies right now because y'all got so damn radical. So I don't even know what it would be about. All right, let's move on. Interesting fact checking on CNN. This is just, and I have a video that I may show later on where there was like a whistleblower on CNN. He was he worked on their camera crew. I don't know exactly what he did, but he was talking about how biased CNN is. And he's like, yo, if we're going to be left leaning, like, let's just put that out there, rather than acting as if we're some type of neutral, non-biased, objective news source. But take a look at this fact checking and y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are.
Our own program.
He came to the state. He talked about cutting Medicaid, Social Security through DOGE, bringing those issues up.
Actually, he never talked. He explicitly said in Green Bay that he would not cut Social Security.
Well,
that's exactly what he said.
Talked at his rallies.
No, other people said about that, but I was there. I watched him.
Okay.
He did not say he was going to cut Medicaid.
Other people at his rallies who work for DOGE, who work for Elon Musk's organization, talked about those issues.
No, I was at the rally. Not one of them said that. That's what
there are
protesters said, but nobody there actually said that.
Do you think that there are risks here?
There are. If people believe the lies that people are saying about that. But that's not at all what they said. If people believe that Medicaid and Medicare is going to be touched, that's just a flat, outright lie. What he talked about are people who are over 120 years old, who clearly are not alive.
They're not even alive, Abby. They're not even alive. 120-year-old welfare recipients. Meanwhile, the Democrats.
I almost want to go back and listen to that again. This is exactly what has happened with Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and DOGE. Everything that comes out, they're getting rid of Social Security. They're getting rid of Elon said it was a Ponzi scheme. It does sound like a Ponzi scheme to me. Like, it literally sounds like the definition of a Ponzi scheme. You are paying people who invested a while ago, but the only way that you can pay them their money is if new people pay into it. Does that sound like think about what Social Security is. You invest in it early on, right? So based on the investment, you're not doing anything. You're not going to take the money out right there. You're investing your money that you earned through your paycheck. You're investing that. And hold on, let me get this. I need more full screen with this. So you're investing that money, but you're letting the whoever hold it, right? And just like when you put your money in the bank, they're using your money to make more money. Like when you put your money in the bank, your money is being used. Like the bank, they're not. It's not like if they're just putting it under their bed or putting it behind in the vault and just holding it there until you come back and get it. No, they're using it. They're using it and putting it in different money-making systems that are going to earn them, let's say 5%, 10%, 20%, I don't know. They're using that money to loan to people. for different businesses, to buy homes. Oh, they're using your money. But what they're doing is they're charging interest, so they're making money off of your money. So when it comes to Social Security, you're going to make an investment. Let's say I'm paying into Social Security, and then when I turn, 65? I don't know the exact age. When I turn 65, now I'm going to start receiving money. When I retire, cool. Based on the investment, it would seem to me that it would be fair to say, hey, I'm only getting a return. Now, they don't know how long somebody's going to live, so that's where it becomes a little dicey. But to me, it would be fair for you to receive money based on what you put in. Now, what are they doing with the money during those 30, 40 years up to, your last years that you're putting in money into your Social Security? What are they doing with that money? If I put money to the side and then I get my money back with interest because they put it in some sort of whatever, cool. I get my money with some interest, as any investment should return, right? Okay. If I do that, then later on, and I'm only receiving my money, that's one thing. But if now you're telling me that, hey, if young people stop investing in Social Security, then a lot of the money that the older people need is going to run out. That's a bad system, bro. Isn't that who's the guy that got in trouble with the Ponzi scheme, the famous dude who was just paying new investors you're paying the old investors with the new investors' money that comes in? Like, that to me sounds like a Ponzi scheme. If I make an investment with you today and you need somebody else's money tomorrow to pay me what I invested with you today, something is off here. And with Elon, the only thing that I've seen Elon talking about is saying that he does not like it and wants to make it an option. If you want to invest in Social Security, cool. But if I do not want to invest my money in Social Security, if I do not want that taken out of my check, why can't I say cool as well? But the Democrats have to frame it a certain way. They have to frame it as if Donald Trump is saying, I'm taking away your Social Security. I'm taking away Medicare, taking away Medicaid, when they consistently have said, I'm not doing that. I'm not touching Social Security. Now, if Abby and the Democrats want to sit here and say that Trump is lying about it, then say that. But don't present it as she just presented it, saying like, oh no, Trump said that. Oh, well, he didn't say it. Well, his people said it. Oh, well, whatever. That's what we feel. Not even acknowledging it when she gets called out on it. No, actually, he didn't say that. Actually, Elon didn't say that. She doesn't even acknowledge it. It doesn't even matter. Facts do not matter if they're not proving the point that people are trying to prove. All right, so let's move on. Enough of that. What do we have next? All right, so let's move on. I wanted to show this. I came across this video and I saw a picture of a kid in a jersey, didn't really know much what was going on. And apparently this young man was stabbed at a track meet. And a lot of people are upset because they're saying that, hey, why hasn't this been made as big of a deal as a lot of these other situations? And the one person was talking in particular about George Floyd. But take a look at this situation. Take a look at this.
His brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms.
Let me go back. I'm sorry.
His brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms.
Austin Metcalf's final moments, his dad says, were spent in his twin brother's arms.
And I rushed up there and I saw him on the gurney. And I could tell.
The 17-year-old died Wednesday, police say, after being stabbed by another student at a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas.
Not conscious, not breathing. He was stabbed.
His twin brother, who was there, told their dad the incident began when the pair asked the student to move to a different seat.
He brought a knife to a track meet, and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart.
Police are not saying what caused the altercation, but have arrested 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, a student athlete from a rival school, now charged with murder. Anthony has not yet pled. The North Texas community in shock.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Grieving alongside Austin's family, who are remembering the high school junior as a bright student athlete who was MVP of his football team and had a 4.0 GPA.
He was loved by many, He was a leader. He believed in God. He was a great kid.
A lot of people are calling this out because they're saying that, yo, why haven't we heard about this story? If it was a white guy stabbing a black guy, it would have been called out. I don't know. I'm looking at it more so like this is just crazy that things are getting to these points where we're seeing these violent occasions. Now, I don't know if we're just seeing them more or if it's something that is actually happening more, but like, this is just crazy, man. This is just crazy. We got to do better.
Made me the proudest father in the world.
Tonight, his family leaning on that faith to forgive.
I already forgive this person. God takes care of things. God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
I wanted to highlight that part. We've talked a lot about on this show as far as like war, payback, get back, retaliation, what's justified. When we talk about the incidents that are occurring, the wars that are occurring around the world. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago saying like until a victim's family or a victim decides that they're not going to look for some type of retaliation, until we get to a point where more people are accepting that, we'll always have war. Now, I don't know. I know that's easier said than done. I used to see things a lot differently before, I'm being totally honest. But to hear this man who just had his son stabbed in the heart at a track meet, to say that I already forgive this man, and he said it's in God's hands. Normally, and I'm gonna go back and listen because I want to see if y'all caught what he actually said when he said, it's in God's hands. Most of the time people say, God will take care of the person who committed it. The person that committed the crime, God's going to take care of them. But he said something different. And I wasn't sure if y'all peeped it, but he said, God's going to take care of my family. It seemed as if he didn't have that level of resentment or retaliation in his heart. And I don't know, that just stood out to me. And I think that that's really the only, and I'm applying it to things that obviously have happened, totally different situations around the country, but embracing that mindset. As soon as we lean into retaliating and getting our get back, just like we look at it dumb when gangs do it, it's only going to lead to destruction when everybody else does it. As soon as you justify doing something to somebody else violent because of something that was done to you and yours, it's literally the beginning of the end. It's literally the beginning of the end, because it's only going to keep compounding, right? We talk about compounding when we talk about masterminds and stuff like that. That's a different type of compounding. And we see it happen in, you push me, all right. You push me, I slap you. I slap you, you punch me. You punch me, then I kick you. You kick, then I stab you. Then it's a shoot, and it just keeps going until somebody's no longer here, and then their family's impacted. Then it becomes something bigger. So, for this gentleman to stand on what he just stood, that was a powerful thing for him to say, in my opinion.
On that faith to forgive.
I already forgive this person. God takes care of things. God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
Priscilla Thompson, NBC News.
Thanks for.
All right, man. All right. Oh, that was all over social media. I didn't see it, Queez. So Queez said it was all over social media. I didn't see it. We did hear about it. Well, I saw it. I guess I saw it to report to y'all, but I didn't see. And what's crazy, Queez, you bring up a great point. That's actually what the person was saying. They were saying, now that you just brought it up, that it was on social media, but it wasn't on like a lot of the mainstream out. Like it just wasn't a thing. And I guess what they're really talking about is, which is unfair to compare, these two types of things, where they're saying that there was such a huge thing with the George Floyd. Now that's totally different. But I guess my interpretation was them saying that if it would have happened in reverse, imagine how racialized they would have been pushing it. Imagine how the Democratic Party would have been acting. This happened in Texas. Imagine what Jasmine Crockett would have been jumping out the window. So I think that's what they were saying. But if it was talked about, then then I'm glad. And I hope that when it was discussed that they showed the last part of that video where the father's talking about forgiveness, because I think that's a very powerful thing. Very powerful thing. And I didn't always look at it like that. I did not look at it like that. Mama Lay, you didn't hear about it, did you? I hadn't heard of it. Well, I just heard about it yesterday. I don't know when it actually happened, but I assume it was pretty recent. So this video was 13 hours ago. So I'm assuming that it was pretty recent. All right, so let's move on. What video did I have queued up for y'all next? All right. I meant to play this video before with the Byron Donalds, but since I missed playing it before, I'm going to play it again, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation. This is more so on the tariff talks. Let me play this short clip for you guys. Then we'll get into Mayor Eric Adams and a couple other videos.
An economic assumption right now. Let's be very clear. You're making an assumption. You are making an assumption, an economic assumption right now. Let's be very clear. The real pain economically has been the massive inflation coming from bloated overspending here in Washington, D.C. That is the real pain that the American people have felt the last 4 years. Well, what President Trump is trying to do now is bring industries back to the United States. So it's not so much pain. You might have some temporary adjustments in our economy, but that is for the growth of the American economy long term, stability and jobs over the long term for the American people and American workers. And that is actually a good way to take our economy as opposed to follow.
I just want to comment on what he said. This whole economy thing, it's very strange looking at it for a few different reasons. When I look at the economy, it's like, I think a lot of people just dislike Donald Trump so much that they intentionally will say certain things to trigger certain people and have the conversation solely based around, well, cost is going to go up right now. Cost is up right now. Eggs are still up right now, or whatever excuse, even though I think I didn't check the last stats, but eggs did go down. This is we are so used to short-term quick fixes, the appearance of short-term quick fixes, that we don't understand that this is a long problem. You can't just what's it called? You can't just give Ozempic to the economy. There is no Ozempic for the economy. You actually have to go work out. There's no BBLs for the economy. You actually have to go put the work in. It's going to take some time. It's a long-term problem. Now, people can say that this is Trump because Trump said day one he's going to bring prices down. That's on Trump. But what he's doing with the tariffs and long-term, what he's doing to bring back manufacturing, the things that are already occurring, like, how do we not embrace those things? How do we not embrace, for 4 years, Joe Biden said that, oh, well, this, and everybody else who gave him an excuse said, well, the border has been an issue for a very long time, and you can't just solve the border with executive action. You need to bring Congress on board. I heard somebody say the other day, I was listening to this conversation. I think it was Patrick Bet-David and this guy, Sam Cedar, on Valuetainment. And they were talking about, this sounded absurd, so I got to fact check it. And maybe I'm just completely wrong. But how many illegal people came into the country over the last 4 years? Hold on. How many people illegally entered the country under Joe Biden? Because the number I was thinking was 10 million that I thought somebody said. But let me look at ChatGPT, and obviously it's ChatGPT, so y'all got to bear with me. But the reason why I was thinking that is, okay, so it says, during President Joe Biden's administration, U.S. Customs and Border Protection recorded over 7.8 million illegal border crossings. Additionally, there were at least 1.5 million gotaways, individuals detected but not apprehended, bringing the total to approximately 9.3 million. 9.3 million people snuck into a country. And you were getting ready to vote for this man again, a lot of Democrats. Shouldn't that be one of those things that disqualify you from asking for your job again? Like, imagine if this was any other job in a corporate space, in a team setting or anything, right? And your job was to protect a certain group of people. And the laws that you put out had 9.3 million people coming into the country illegally. 9.3 million people coming into the country illegally. And the same Democratic Party that claims that they are for the people, right? The ones that look out for the lower class, the ones that look out for the middle class, all these. Who do you think those 9.3 million people are really coming in to help? Hold on, I need this camera. I need this screen just to myself right now. I need to have a combo with y'all. When you have 9.3 billion people, it was billion, right? Hold on. No, I'm sorry, million. I'm sorry. That would sound crazy. If I said billion earlier, it's million. When you have 9.3 million people coming to this country, who are they taking jobs away from? Who are they really helping? The Democrats always complain that Donald Trump is actually the one doing things for the elite, right? The upper class, the people that have the businesses, the people that have a lot of money. Keep it real. When these 9.3 million people come in and they're willing to work for less money than the spoiled, bratty, and entitled Americans, then they're taking jobs away from the people that are complaining about doing certain things. And this is, I'm not getting paid enough to work at McDonald's. I need to, whatever it is. Those 9.3, they're willing to do it, probably for less. So in all actuality, who was really looking out for the elites? Who was really looking out for the multimillionaires? Because if you bring in cheap labor into the country, then that seems to me to benefit the people that have the companies, because now they can hire cheaper labor, have a greater margin on whatever products they're selling, and make more money for them, right? And who are they taking away jobs from? If you work in a minimum wage job, now I'm not putting a color demographic on it. I'm talking about people that make less money. If you let's say work for a job where you're making close to minimum wage or minimum wage, which do you have more leverage to negotiate making more money? When you go into your boss's office, your manager, and say, hey, I think I should be getting paid more, for I did this, I do this, boom, 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 A, B, C, boom. This is why I think I should get paid more. And in the back of their mind, they're thinking like, I just had 10 people just pull up. Some were under the table. Oh, well. Some they're trying to help. They got their papers now. They got at least to where they're able to work. So it doesn't have to be under the table. Let's be very clear. Those people that are used to the conditions in their country, they'll come and work for like, oh, no, I'll work for half of that. That person saying that they need to make more, I'll work for half of that. Which do you think you have more leverage when you're negotiating to try to make more money? So who is this? Who did the illegal migration really hurt? Who did it really hurt? This is the whole conversation around tariffs. The entire reason why American companies cannot compete with companies that are selling their products and paying people what a lot of Americans would call slave wages. This is why they have to charge more for American products. So Americans are going to be okay with Joe Biden allowing 9.3 people to come into the country illegally. claiming that he can't solve it. It's an issue that they've been dealing with for a very long time, even though it hit record highs while him and Kamala were in office. We never were able to make the connection. Why? Because the majority of the Democrats that I'm talking about, y'all get y'all news from CNN, ABC, MSNBC, and they're never going to connect these dots. They're never going to connect these dots. So once again, what do we always talk about? Hustling backwards. Hustling backwards. You got people, you're mad that people are coming into the country. Whole time, Trump is looking out for you. What did Trump say? Black jobs, right? Y'all got offended when he said black jobs. But nobody seems to get offended when you got a Jasmine Crockett or all these other people, when a black person is jumping out the window saying, nah, black people, we got to deal with this. We don't have IDs. We don't have this. But when Trump looks out for you, or not even looks out for you, let me rephrase that. When Trump just does something that happens to benefit you, let's speak on that. When Trump just does something that happens to benefit you, you can't even acknowledge it. Why? Because you're so caught up in just seeing it from one particular way. All those migrants that came into this country, the Democrats that claim they're looking out for the people at the bottom, the small person without a voice that they have to step up for, they're taking away opportunities from those people. And we will never see it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Honest Row, shout out to Honest in the building. The Biden policy opened hell's doors with intent. The policy left housing, taxes, jobs, healthcare, and unknown scores of violence on all of us. With intent. With intent. That's a big distinction. Even if all of the illegals came in and were law-abiding and loved our country, how can we pay for them? This is why we need Trump's policies to fix it. It's simple. We may not like it, but it's simple. And as much as people want to complain about how Trump is going about deporting the illegal migrants and he's picking these people out there and he's avoiding judges' orders, as much as y'all complain about that, where is that energy towards Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for causing the problem in the first place? Like, you have more negative thoughts towards the person that's trying to fix the problem and the person that's actually doing something, when the previous person who caused the problem always hid behind, look, we can't fix this with executive orders. We got to. Trump came in and fixed this problem with his team day one. Y'all quick to call out, oh, well, day one, he said my prices were going to go down. Okay, cool. All right, so hold him accountable to that in a negative way, right? He didn't deliver on that. But what about the things that he actually is delivering on? Do you acknowledge those? I don't know. Let's get back to the video. Let me get back to this video. Sorry to interrupt my bro, Byron. Let's keep going.
Following the same terrible policies of the previous administration and the Democrats writ large of just subsidizing industries and raising the debt of the United States. That is not the way that you actually build an economy. There's an old saying in finance: you can make markets jump, but you can't make them fly. And when you follow the old way, the Biden-Obama way of just subsidizing industries, yeah, you make them jump.
Of subsidizing in industries. I want to talk about that, but let me, G wrote a comment. How much were each of those 9.3 million being handed a Social Security card, monthly funding, a cell phone, food, clothing, etc.? And we have homeless veterans. Make it make sense. The same people that say Trump don't care about veterans, he's taking away. Well, what? Make it make sense. Like, we can't be this easily manipulated to not at least just see the big picture of things. If they solve something, it won't be news anymore. Yeah. But I want to go back to what Byron just said. I want to go back to what he just said.
The Biden-Obama way of just subsidizing industries.
Subsidizing industries. This is another thing that a lot of people may miss and that I wasn't, really aware of. When the presidents always brag about different jobs that they created, right? A lot of the jobs that were created, from my understanding, during Biden and Kamala Harris were government jobs. So that's what I believe Byron Donalds is talking about when he says subsidizing industries. When you have a government job, that means the government is paying you. That means tax dollars are paying you, or they're printing money, one or the other, which obviously is going to lead to more inflation or more expenses out of our pockets. What Donald Trump is leaning into is creating more private sector jobs. These are the companies where the company, the owners, the board, they pay the employees to feed and stimulate the economy. Do you see the difference? When you create jobs and they're government jobs, that's just money, more taxes that we have to pay to fund those jobs. But when you create private sector jobs by incentivizing companies to build factories, to have their factories in America, when you incentivize American entrepreneurship, American companies, allowing American companies to be more competitive, now you're stimulating the private sector so those private companies can hire American citizens and it not come out of our money, but it's money that now is being generated and being sent back into the American economy that wasn't just the money that was taken from the people or printed by the government. Let's keep going.
Yeah, you make them jump. You can make people feel good in the interim, but it's not sustainable over the long term. Donald Trump is looking at the long-term financial outlook for every American, and that's why we're starting today with Liberation Day.
All right, so that's Byron over there. That's Byron. Let's get into we're going to take a quick little not like a little break, but kind of break up the political talk for a second, and let me make sure that I'm catching up with everybody. So yeah, Trey said this, they still haven't fixed the mental health crisis. Yeah, we're actually going to take us not more mental health. Well, I guess I don't know if this is considered mental health or if it should be considered mental health, but I want to play this video for you guys on this. Who is this? Alzheimer's. I'm not even sure who this gentleman is, but the conversation was good. And I think he brought about some good points that I think a lot of us should look out for, especially when it comes to our parents, their health, and them being able to function, because we may have been misled when it comes to the causes of Alzheimer's and not really understand why more and more of us and our family members are being impacted by it. So let's take a look at this.
You've spoken personally about reversing Alzheimer's. I had a grandmother who passed from this, and this touches many people's lives. And, you know, everybody at least knows somebody who knows somebody that this is a big issue. Can you talk to us about that?
So first of all, you know, I will say that sadly, the rate of people getting Alzheimer's is going up, and it really shouldn't be that way. I think a lot of people feel that Alzheimer's is something they're genetically predisposed to, and if they're going to get it, they're going to get it. And nothing could be further from the truth. There's a very few people that have the gene that 100% of the time leads to Alzheimer's. Also, just not using your brain. You know, I hate to say it, like a lot of people retire, and that's when you see a steep decline, right?
Yeah, my grandmother, in her case, she retired, typical 65 retire, and then, you know, probably around the time she was 70, she was diagnosed. And then literally like the worst thing about that situation was she lived to like 93, she lived a long time with it.
There's actually a blood test now that can tell us if you're headed towards Alzheimer's. Okay. It's called a tau 217 blood test. Yeah. And if you have a risk of Alzheimer's, or you feel like you're just cognitively impaired and maybe something's not right, I would highly suggest, you know, looking at this. This blood test just came out, and now there's therapies that we know work much better than any medication. Plasma exchange therapy is what we're using to slow the rate of progression of Alzheimer's.
All right, so my biggest takeaway from that was we got to make sure that we're keeping our parents stimulated, or our parents are keeping themselves stimulated. I know retirement is one of those things that everybody strives for, looks for, gets excited about, but it's almost, I almost think about it when this thought just came to mind. Y'all know I just share stuff with y'all in real time. But it's like, all right, when I stopped eating meat, fish, and eggs, initially I didn't replace it with anything. I just ate more of the other stuff. And that hurt me in ways, you know, losing weight, losing strength. When we retire, all of that stimulation that we had, all of, you know, the healthy stress or healthy anxiety that goes in with the work, like us trying to solve problems, there's certain, you know, stress that's good, right? All of those things to us just overall challenging our minds, challenging us to think, to solve problems. When we lose that, it's like any other muscle that we're not using. What is it called? Apathy? I think that's the word. Muscle apathy. Let me make sure that I'm saying that right. Muscle apathy. Yeah, I think I'm right. When you lost, which is the loss or decrease of muscle mass, often leading to weakness or muscle atrophy. Atrophy. Damn, I'm pronouncing that. Damn, I said atrophy. That's crazy. Atrophy. Atrophy. All right, so muscle atrophy is the loss or thinning of your muscle tissue. If you have atrophied the muscles, or atrophied muscles, you'll see a decrease in your muscle mass and strength. All right. The point that I'm trying to make is that when you don't use it, you lose it. If you're not using your muscle, the brain is a muscle, right? So if we went out here and stopped working out, if we stopped bench pressing for 2 years, do we think that we're going to jump on the bench 2 years later and still be the same strength? Eb saved me. Eb, bro, the trophy is your winning mindset. That's a fact. I can only see it one way. No, I appreciate that. Mama Lay wrote, I researched dementia and Alzheimer as my father had it severely. Sugar was a huge contributor. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So sugar is definitely something that we need to take into account. But just looking up different things, like if you're going to retire, cool, retire, but almost giving yourself assignments, like going out and seeing friends, all these different things. I think what ends up happening is when people get caught up just watching TV on the couch, unless some of these shows, they stimulate. So I don't know, but y'all get what I'm saying. We got to just make sure that we're going after something, striving for something, and doing a lot of that problem solving, because I think problem solving to the muscle, to the brain, is like a workout, like a physical workout at the gym to the body. Like I think that's how it works. So processed sugar, yeah, definitely processed sugar. Eat cane sugar, raw cane sugar. Go with that. All right. So we finished that. Now I think we're gonna move on to Eric Adams. All right, so Thomas Sowell put up this clip, and I haven't seen this video yet, but there's a couple other videos that I wanted to show y'all. But let's go let's take a look at this video that I'm actually not sure. I haven't seen this one yet, but I want to check it out. I trust Thomas Sowell. So this is Mayor Eric Adams, I believe, discussing how Biden's DOJ came after him. So let's take a look. Make sure that I got y'all shared. All right, there we go. Mayor Adams, man, he letting them hang, bro. He just he out of here. He free. Hold on, let's see. I don't know when this interview was, though. I don't know if this is pre his charges being dropped and dismissed, or post. But let's take a look.
Because what Biden's Justice Department did was unbelievable. You placed mothers on FBI watch lists because you are worried about what they're being taught to children in school.
Wait, what is that?
Yeah, they had mothers and families placed on FBI watch lists, terrorist watch lists, because of their advocacy around some of the things that they're teaching their children in school. They wanted to acknowledge, they call them terrorists. I'm telling you, got to see what that Justice Department did. And a lot of people...
I realized that it was Schultz about a couple of seconds in, just from when his voice. Schultz is... there's a lot to be said here. I didn't know that this was an interview. I didn't know that this happened right here. I didn't know that Mayor Adams went on Andrew Schultz's show. Very interesting. Very interesting. Mayor Eric Adams, his announcement of him getting ready to run as an independent instead of Democrat, we know that it had other factors, just him needing a little bit more time and getting that time about running as an independent. But this may be a slow transition. Mayor Eric Adams is, I don't know maybe he's just looking at it from a sensible standpoint. Maybe he's just going to be a moderate. Maybe he's just going to be a moderate, hang in the middle, independent. Maybe that's the best place for him. Maybe that's the best place for people right now, to be moderates. Matter of fact, shouldn't that always be the best place for people to be, whether you're on the Democratic side or the Republican side? I don't know. Maybe not. I guess it depends on the current state of society, but let's keep going.
Want to ignore what they talk about my case.
Yeah.
But when Biden pardoned his son, he said, the Justice Department has been politicized.
Yeah. That was
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
We're not like staunch Biden people. Biden's It's like, it is a tricky thing because, I'm pardoning my kid 100% if I have that power. But at the same time, I understand the frustration that you must absolutely feel. Okay, so.
And we're not hearing
the same criticism.
No one from the Justice Department quit. None of them saying, I think.
Ooh. A lot of folks quit when it came to Mayor Eric Adams, right? A lot of folks quit his team. I didn't see anybody quit. He's making a good point.
Okay, so.
And we're not hearing
the same criticism.
No one from the Justice Department quit. None of them saying, I think what you're doing is wrong, so I'm quitting.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, read Cash's book.
This is the thing that I think is really frustrating, is that we know your name, we know Biden's name, we know Hunter's name, we know Trump's name.
Do me a favor, like, and subscribe.
These people that you were talking about or Cash was talking about, none of us know their names.
You're going to know the name in the books.
Okay, I'm going to look because how can we hold people accountable that were not elected by us, not democratically chosen, and are the ones allegedly behind these decisions? But how can we hold them accountable if we don't know who the fuck they are?
Right.
And why are you telling me? You know the names. Are you scared?
No, when you read,
Dyslexia, baby.
No, when you read the book, I don't remember all the names as they listed. He did a good job of documenting some of the case history, of documenting. So I can't blurt out every name when I remember.
Yeah.
But it's all in the book. He does an amazing job of documenting the case history. Like you look at the
which case?
All the cases. There's a couple of cases.
Got it.
Like he goes into.
All right, so we're gonna. I don't think anything else.
It's not just unique to politics. It becomes more costly.
All right, like I said, I hadn't seen that video before. I'm glad that we caught the front end of it. But let's go to the video that I was actually getting ready to show y'all. Mayor Eric Adams, bro. Mayor Adams, he's free, man.
Story now at noon. Linda, kind of a surprise, though.
Well, you know what I have to tell you? This really is not a surprise there, Bianca, and this is the reason. It had been speculated about for months now, but today the mayor finally did pull the trigger on this. On Good Day New York this morning, the mayor saying that he has to rebuild trust with New Yorkers and convince them to re-elect him. Take a look at this. Mayor Adams releasing this video earlier today, announcing he is remaining a Democrat, but he is going to run on the independent line. This move gives the mayor more time to collect petition signatures and to raise more money for his campaign. Now, the deadline for Democrats running on the Democratic line is midnight tonight. Now the mayor has until May 27th. He has to collect about 3,700 signatures. His decision follows a federal judge's ruling yesterday to dismiss the federal corruption case against him. The mayor talking about it right here on Fox 5 a short time ago.
We collected 25,000 signatures on our Democratic petition, and we sat down with the team 2 days ago prior to the judge's announcement, and we said, Eric, we have to get the campaign up and running, get our fundraising back into action. You just can't do it in such a short period of time. Let's have a longer period of time and put the team together. And after the judge announcement, we were able to move forward the way I want to and get back into the streets the way I've always done.
All right, now it is important to point out here in his decision yesterday, the judge said his ruling to dismiss the case against the mayor had nothing to do with the merits of the case, and that it appeared that the case, quote, smacks of a bargain between the mayor and the Trump administration to drop the charges against the mayor in exchange for the mayor's help in carrying out the president's immigration policy. So another interesting day today in politics. Bianca, back over to you.
Just in tonight, a judge has ruled not to revoke probation for.
We're not going to talk about the thugger, but yeah, Mayor Eric Adams. I don't even really got much to say about it. One thing that I will say about Mayor Eric Adams is that it was interesting. I don't know if I who draws these. I don't know if I heard it from. I heard this, so I'm not sure if it's come out yet, but. Apparently, Al Sharpton said that he wouldn't support Mayor Eric Adams, or he hasn't given him his support yet. Who knows if it's going to change? But it's just interesting how all this works. It's so interesting. Shouldn't we be praising that a black man's charges were dropped? Right? We should, and thank God, free at last. Right? We should be having all that energy. I guess not. I guess not. And hold up, did y'all see my thumbnail? I feel like the thumbnail to be what I thought was good. Hold on, I gotta show y'all the thumbnail. It's like I feel like I didn't elaborate on it on the show, but let me show y'all the thumbnail. That's what I'm really just proud of. I'm just very proud of this thumbnail. So let me share it with y'all. Hold on. That's not funny. That's not funny. All right, can anybody? All right, somebody tell me what this image is actually of. Somebody tell me what this image is actually of. And we gonna be sending out more mugs. We got a couple that are already on the way, but somebody tell me what this image was actually of before we move on. All right, what are we moving on to next? What do we have? All right, matter of fact, we got a funny we got a couple funny posts before we wrap up. A couple funny things that I came across, and a couple that I'm not even sure. Well, actually, do I want to play? Okay, hold on. We got more of a serious one first. I forgot that we were supposed to talk about this issue. This is another one of the reasons why, in my opinion, Paul Pierce. Yo, that's the Paul Pierce. Yo, nah, that's not the Paul Pierce. That's the Hold on, let me pull it up. Hold on. He said that's the Paul Pierce. That's the it's Irv Gotti. Y'all don't remember the Irv Gotti one? Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the original. All right, I got the original here. I'm gonna show y'all the original. Dang. So I said the Paul Pierce. This is it right here. Hold on. Let me full screen it for y'all. Y'all don't remember that when Irv Gotti got off them charges? Yeah, I know exactly what Queen's talking about with the Paul Pierce when he left the game. And then they put him in a wheelchair, and then he came back and dropped like the game winner or something like that. All right. So let's this is the last serious topic that we got, I believe. The last serious topic.
Global attention.
Which, I mean, I don't know if y'all can say it's serious.
After a female fencer was given the ultimate punishment for refusing to compete against a biological man. USA fencer Stephanie Turner was scheduled to face Redmond Sullivan at the University of Maryland. And this video you're looking at, posted on social media, shows that just as the match was about to begin, Turner took a knee, took off her mask, and forfeited the match in protest. Now, because of that, Turner received a black card. That is the harshest penalty you can get in the sport, and she was disqualified from the event. The video gained more than 1 million views. Turner told Fox News Digital, quote, "I looked at the ref and I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I am a woman, this is a man, and this is a women's tournament, and I will not fence this individual."
Wow.
Dr. Sapphire, she said that she wouldn't sign up for events when she saw this biological male was on the roster. This time, must have signed up after her. And she said, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it to God. If this person shows up to my event and is on my script, I would take a knee, and that would be God's will.
You know, it was very interesting. USA Fencing put out a statement on their trans policy, and in their statement, it essentially said the reason they were including trans athletes is to expand access. But the reality is they're not expanding access. They've always allowed men to compete in fencing as well as women. The reality is these men can't cut it with the other male athletes, so therefore they are coming into the female sports.
Imagine, like, this is just like, is this really where we are? Like, what adults decided that this would be the thing? And this is why I laugh at the whole Gavin Newsom thing, with Gavin Newsom saying Democrats, they got a toxic brand. Oh yeah, when he was sitting down with Charlie Kirk, yeah, definitely an issue of fairness. You're right. Like, you know, as far as men competing against women and boys competing against girls. But these are the policies that y'all put in play. This is what y'all were fighting for. And to the women, how y'all gonna be? How are the feminists gonna join sides with on this issue? You can support whoever you want to support, but they're literally taking away. Like, how are the women, when you look at these type of situations, the group? I separate the actual women or black people from Black Lives Matter, or actual lesbian, bisexual, gay people from the LGBTQ movement. I separate the movement from the people. The movement, the feminist movement, or whatever it is now it's just called the Democratic Party. No, I'm just joking. All right, so the feminist movement, how do they align more with and support the groups that support the gentleman on the left, the trans woman, the biological born man? How do you support that person in this situation and not stand up for the Riley Gaines and for this young lady that's taking a knee? Like, how does that even make any sense? This goes back to the same thing that we were talking about earlier, the whole hustling backwards and not seeing the dots being connected. When we were talking about the illegal migrants coming in here and the Democrats claiming that they're the party for the people, the people with not a strong voice, the lower class, the impoverished communities. But meanwhile, like, did you think that y'all claim that y'all are for Baltimore, right? Baltimore, we got a black mayor, all this other stuff. Did you think, or New York, whatever, across the board in a lot of these inner cities, did you think that bringing in the migrants illegally, like, where did we think that was going to help these impoverished communities? But this is just the same thing, hustling backwards. This is why the Democrats are looked at the way that they're looked at. This is why. It's craziness. It's craziness. I was listening to somebody say, any Democratic politician, before you listen to anything else that they say, you should ask them 2 questions. One question was, what is a woman? And the next question was, how do you feel about boys competing in girls' sports and men competing in women's sports? I think it was Pierce Morgan. So let me give credit where credit's due. It's a simple thing.
And maybe there's well-meaning inclusion that has just morphed into dogma, but this is really just cowardice being manifested as compassion. The reality is there are biological unfairness when you have a biological male competing in women's sports. When it comes to their strength, their bone density, their muscle mass, all of a sudden this has become completely unfair to female athletes and has taken us back decades and decades of progressive movements trying to get fairness for women athletes.
It's true. And what I found interesting, Emily, is that this was a lifelong Democrat, this woman was. And she said, I changed on this issue alone. She said, I voted red down the ticket this year. It was like waking up to the lies of the mainstream media. And she's not alone. There was a 25-year-old who told the New York Times, I was radicalized because of this issue of biological men in women's sports.
Yeah, and we've talked about that, right? That was a single issue for many voters who, yes, realized they had been indoctrinated by the mainstream media when the reality was so clear when it's facing you and when that person facing you is holding a sword. My mom fenced growing up. She's amazing. She actually got her master's degree from the University of Maryland. And I think about, as you describe the biological differences, it includes as well wingspan.
All right, this is crazy that we even got to have these conversations. So I'm not going to bore y'all with the details. Not to say that she's boring, but it's just, come on now. Like we already know. We already know. All right, so we gave y'all some interview prep on the last show, or maybe it was a show before that. With the gentleman, he was sitting down with the interview, and I don't know. Y'all said he was a comedian or comic. I'm not sure. And he was giving the interview, like pretty much. He said, like, "Why do you think we should hire you?" And he was saying, like, "Yo, man, you put the job out there. I answered the call. Hire me. Save yourself some time. Why'd your boss give you this busy work? Hire me. Then you don't got to worry about doing any work for the rest of the week." We got some more interview prep for y'all. So this is LeBron James, and the caption reads, when you're on a job interview, unqualified as hell, but trying to sound smart to BS your way to getting hired. Let's see what Bron's advice is. Let's see. So this is how we should conduct ourselves in those interviews.
What I did not know or what I did not have, I didn't have enough accumulative hours put in on perfecting the process. Yep. I think that my process was where it needed to be, or even if I even had enough time for my process to be where it needed to be. Right. And I was understanding and had the ability, as far as my capacity, to understand the process, to unlock the process, and then go after it, and just stay that course. What I did not know or what I did not have, I didn't have enough accumulative hours put in on perfect.
Oh, they played it again. All right, that was just a little funny clip. Bron always gives us some funny clips. I think we're gonna end it there. There was another one with Corey Holcomb that I was getting ready to play, and I was gonna relate it to some of the stuff that we see going on in politics. But since it's almost 10 and that's a little risky, as you can see with this caption, we're going to move along, and I'm gonna let y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all day. All right. Y'all know we can't leave without doing our 45 seconds. Hold on. The irony. Hold on. What are you talking about? I feel like I missed it. The irony. LOL. Have a dad like him. Maya, explain what did I miss? What did I miss? All right. So we're gonna do our 45 seconds. It's Friday. Y'all know we set out every week to make this our greatest week ever. That's what we do on Sundays and Mondays. And Friday, we hopefully put ourselves in a position to have a chance to let that come true. Bron and Bronny. I'm missing. I'm lost. I'm sorry. I'm lost on that one. You got to explain it more. I don't know what you're talking about. I missed it. Have a dad like him? I don't know. Not being qualified for a job. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maya, you got to explain better. Come on now. All right. So what is it? What?
He's talking about not being qualified for a job, and then he literally got his son a job that he's not qualified for.
Oh, you got to explain that. Like, have a dad like him? What does that comment mean?
It was in reply to what LeBron was saying.
Oh, I missed it. Somebody just wrote, Maya don't know what she's talking about. So I don't know. Somebody just wrote that in the comments. I didn't write it. All right. All right. Yo, so we're going to do our 45 seconds. I'm going to delete it for you. They shouldn't be writing that. We're going to have our 45 seconds, and we're just going to take the time to do what we always do. Clear our mind, manifest, meditate, get your breath work in. You do whatever it is that you need to do. Sometimes we have our eyes closed. Sometimes we have them open. You do whatever you need. I'm going to have my eyes closed for this one. But 45 seconds, every exhale, getting rid of the negative energy, every inhaling the positive energy, the opportunities, everything amazing that comes our way. And always trying to save you, throwing you a lifeline. All right, 45 seconds, begin. She really tried to come in here explaining herself. Like 45 seconds. Ooh, went a little overboard there. My apologies. Ain't funny. Yo, man, y'all know what we come here to do. Elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, raising our standards, challenging ourselves, right? Challenging ourselves by raising our standards to become the best leaders we can become, and to make sure that we are constantly growing into the individuals that we need to grow into in order to accomplish these amazing goals that we set out for ourselves. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Y'all know what I mean when I say get into that bag. If you don't, all the things that are going to be aligned throughout the week, the small steps that are going to help you get to that big step as we all strive for purposeful abundance. Life is amazing, y'all. Life is amazing. Life is amazing. It is what it should be. It is what we make it, all right? It's what we make it. That's how it should be. Life is what we make it. So let's take advantage. Y'all get to the things that are in y'all bag. That's for y'all to decide. The things that are in my bag: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and everything we do. Integrity, peace, and love to all y'all. Appreciate y'all. Everybody already sent they. So Abro, peace, all ya. Professor in the building. Exhale. Have a great weekend. Be blessed. Professor, I'm sending you over that one pager. We are excited to come down and work with Hampton Sydney in any capacity. So y'all stay tuned for that as well. Yeah. Love y'all. See y'all soon, man. Y'all have a great weekend and finish out today however you see fit. All right. See y'all soon. Ew.